Very soon, this lovely weather for us to train in as triathletes will start to get a little bit colder and darker, and consequently it means that the surfaces that you run on are probably going to change. So for example, if the weather gets wetter, if you're used to running off-road a little bit, the surface is going to get softer like it does do when it gets harder when the summer starts. And equally for some of you, you're going to want to train maybe a little bit more off-road, whether that's for cross-country or just to mix up your training. But what we do know is that most people who come into problems with tendons, ligaments and joint pain, usually that coincides from when they've changed their running surface. Now, why does this happen? It's essentially because the characteristics of how force and load go through those joints and through those tendons and muscles can suddenly change. It doesn't look like much because you're still running on something, but to your body it's quite a significant change. So there's a couple of key tips that we've got to make sure that you can make that shift if you want to, but to do it in a safe, effective and progressive way. So what you don't want to do is, say for example, you do 20 kilometers of running a week, just as an example. What most people will do is suddenly take a large proportion of that and do it off-road. So in other words, your 20 kilometers that you used to do just on road, maybe that suddenly turns into doing 15 kilometers off-road and 5 kilometers on road in the space of a week. We know significantly that's going to heighten your risk of having these problems. So our suggestion is to do a 25% shift. In other words, out of your 20 kilometers that you've been doing on road, take 25% of that, so 5 kilometers, and do that for that first week off-road. Then the second week, take another 25%, so that'll take us then up to 10 kilometers. And again, if you want to do that a little bit more off-road, you can do. So that then takes you to 10 kilometers on-road, 10 kilometers off-road. And again, we can use that theme however much you like to adjust your training from on-road to off-road. We find that triathletes with strength training are typically better conditioned to be able to adapt and change their running surface. And we think this is because strength training is improving the characteristics of your muscles to apply force and resist force when you're running at different lengths of muscle, and also at different speeds at which those muscles lengthen and shorten. So consequently, we think that puts you in a much more better position when you change running surface, and again the load that's going through those muscles changes, that you're better equipped and have a better physical toolbox to be able to tolerate them. So again, one key final tip is, if you're doing your strength training for your triathlon performance in all the wonderful ways that we discuss on TriTenacious, you're going to be in a much more better position to resist these types of things. Finally, one last thing, like our page, comment any questions on it, subscribe of course. We look forward to hearing off you.